Do you think racism is as prevalent today as it was 50 years ago?
God, no. God, no. Not at all. I think that, because you'll even hear conservatives push like this reverse racism thing, like, oh, well, they're racist towards white people. And I think that there are ways that people are racist towards white people. And I see it a lot from liberals and leftists. I've heard people say, I hate white people. And I'm like, that's awful.
That's messed up.
Yeah, it's messed up when you really get down to it. Like, oftentimes it's said as a passing comment, which is like really sad because it's like, oh, well, that's just a white people thing. I hate how white people do that. And I've heard it from people. I've even heard that. I've heard white people say that.
If I said I hate black people, dude, if this were on the radio, I'd be in big
trouble.
Bro,
I'm telling you, Paul. I was considering in my head, I was like,
should I say that?
I can't even say it as an example.
This is pirate radio, man.
I can't. It's true. I can't even say it as an example though, because somebody takes that sound bit and they post it everywhere. Oh, Kevin Phares, the crazy conservative from Illinois State.
Do it.
He
Take
said
the
it.
Clip. Yeah.
But that's what would happen. And so do I think racism is as prevalent? That's the question you asked. No, because at one point in our society, it was acceptable to deny somebody service at your business based on the color of their skin. It was acceptable in our society to, today, think about it. Back in the day, if your daughter came home with a man that was of a different race, it was looked down upon. And there's still some of that.
Let me tell you one funny story.
And it's not just in white. It's not just in white culture either. Like I've heard stories. I saw it on The Bachelor, actually. I know that's displaying myself to everybody saying that I've watched The Bachelor. But there was a black contestant on The Bachelor who brought home a white guy. And her dad was very concerned at first. Like it happens like that. But nowadays it's kind of like, oh, why is that like a big deal? You go back 20 years ago, even like right around the time I was born. Back then it was more like, yeah, why would you want your daughter?
My dad, when he was pursuing my mom in high school, tried to take her on a date, and he came to her front door. My grandpa came and said, well, he opened the door, closed the door, and then his daughter, who was my dad wanted to take out on a date, said, my dad said, I can't hang out with you because you're Mexican. And that happened. And then they got married later on, though.
Yeah.
And he apologized before they got married, of course, when they're 30 years old. But I don't know what the lesson is there. One, people change their mind. And yes, that was a way of thinking back in the day, especially previous generations. It was just a way of thinking. I don't know what you want to do about that. That's how it goes. We look at history's past. Back in the day, there was weird stuff going on when the Bible was being written. You change. It was just the way of the land at the time.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing that the left never gets.
You want to conserve that? Is that right?
No. I think the thing that the left never gets, Paul, is the idea that people and things can change. They want to change everything, but they never want to accept that people can change. And what I mean by that is that somebody makes a passing comment that's seen as inappropriate or rude, or it can be even perceived as potentially racist. They're canceled. They're out of here. They tried to do it to like Morgan Wallen. I'm a big music fan. This is an Elton John shirt for anybody out there. I'm a big music fan, all kind of music. I just saw Elton John last night. Phenomenal concert. But I'm a big music fan. And Morgan Wallen, who is like the arguably number one in country radio right now, either Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs. Morgan Wallen was caught on video saying the N-word to some buddies. And yeah, I don't agree with saying that word. I think it's a bad word. I think the historical connotations of it, I think it's a bad word. I have an issue when rappers say it, whether you're white or black, anything. I have an issue with when pretty much anyone says it. I think it's inappropriate. But he said it drunk to some buddies. He wasn't going out telling black people that, like yelling it at people, using it in an incredibly racist or offensive way. And yet the left tried to cancel him for that. They tried to boycott him. And then here's the thing. He started selling more concerts. And it wasn't because all of his selling out more venues and everything. And it wasn't because all of his fans are these racist country bumpkins or anything. No, it's because they're like, he's talented. And if you actually watch it, it was like some neighbor that was filming him when he was like, drunk with some buddies and said something stupid. If I had $1 for every time myself or one of my friends said something stupid when we'd had a few to drink, I'd have at least $100. Like, that's just like, it's,
I'd have, yeah.
When you're with
I
your
too would
buddies,
have a
like
lot of money.
when you're with your buddies, you don't always say the things. You say the things that you're comfortable with each other.
And you say part of the fun is saying daring things that you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't say. I mean, I'll go on record saying this, and gosh, hopefully I'll be my own employer for the rest of my life. But no, I've been around buddies. I'm going to say this. And we've been drinking, and I've pulled out my 23andMe, my DNA results, and it says I'm 3% sub-Saharan African.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what that means?
Yeah.
I can say it. And I said it with the A at the end. I said the N word with the A at the end.
And again, like
that was that.
that's with your friends. Like, the thing is that you can't make any mistakes nowadays, Paul. They want, again, I think it's a really important quote, is the idea that they want to change everything but can't accept that people can change. Because if somebody actually does something, like, what about, we saw those Karen videos, right? Of like those random white women that would, like, there was one where she was like walking her dog, or like there's a black guy walking his dog, and she like yelled at him that the dog needed to be on a leash, and that went crazy over it. I'm not saying she's necessarily a good person. I don't know her. But with the spread of that information on the internet, with the spread of that 30-second, minute-long clip, everybody was so quick to label that woman. As an awful, racist, terrible person. She might be. I'm not going to lie. She might be, Paul. But that was a minute into the life of an at least 30-year-old woman. A minute. Out of the thousands, hundreds of thousands of minutes she's had in her life. And we're so quick to make it so that she can't get a job. So that she's got to be shunned by society. And again, I'm not defending this woman. I don't know. That's the point I'm trying to make, is I don't know what happens the rest of her life. I don't know. Maybe she had an off day that day. Maybe there was something that happened. No, the cancel culture is prevalent. And we see it. And we see some people being able to be made or get out of it, like Morgan Wallen and Dave Chappelle being another one. Mm-hmm. There are people that can get out of it. But when it's your average person who has a fleeting mistake, they don't have the money or power or influence to actually make, like, to get out of it like your bigger names do.